22 years ago today, the biggest terrorist attack in a North American history happened, and well, it's kind of sad that this administration is in power right now because they have done nothing to never forget this horrific situation. You remember on the 20th anniversary, September 11th, obviously, 2021, they were too busy trying to clean up that catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, which for me, personally, if I am to rank all of the blunders of the Biden administration, that one ranks right up there at the top. But this one right here from earlier today, this is intrinsically disgusting, okay? It's not quite as bad as, inadvertently causing 13 members of the military to lose their life because of you bungling a withdrawal, but to so obviously and blatantly try to steal some valor, well, it's completely in character for Biden. Remember, this is the same dink who thought that, I got arrested with Nelson Mandela for protesting for civil rights, man. And Corn Pop, he was a bad dude. It's like, this is just so gross, man. Like, you didn't do anything for the 20th anniversary. No, we're gonna get all the troops home. And then, overnight, basically render 2 decades of work completely worthless in an afternoon. And to just lie about what happened. Like, I understand you don't remember what happened 20 years ago. Hell, Biden can't even remember what he did earlier today. But to just so blatantly lie or to have somebody write that for him, like, what are we doing, guys? It's just disgusting on so many levels. Biden claims he was at ground zero after 9/11, but his own book puts him in D.C. Yeah, everybody knows. Everybody knows as a senator he would have been in Washington, D.C. at the time, probably lobbying and, cutting some backroom deals. I don't know if he was of high enough standing in order to broker some of those Ukraine and China deals. Maybe that would come a little bit later, but he was probably laying some foundation, looking at that. Hey, there's that smart, clean, articulate black guy in Illinois. He's a state senator, man. I really think he could use a running mate in about 7 years' time, man. It'd be great. Biden said Monday that he was at the World Trade Center site in New York City one day after, the 9/11 attacks, despite his own autobiography placing him in D.C. The 80-year-old president. Yeah, that's a sentence that is regrettably the only thing true about this. Also claimed he saw the fireball caused by the plane that struck the Pentagon in Northern Virginia from Washington's Union Square. How... That doesn't even make logistic sense, okay? When his own book says he merely saw a brown haze of smoke. Yeah, ground zero in New York. I remember standing there the next day and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. Biden told the U.S. troops in Anchorage, Alaska. He's in Anchorage, Alaska. Okay, that's nice. At least you're talking to the troops, but... why aren't you down there to commemorate the day at ground zero? Like, you have very few things that you need to attend at specific locations as the president. Commemorating, July 4th, Independence Day. You should probably do that at the White House. Veterans Day. You better go down to Arlington to say your piece to the veterans that have allowed you to, for whatever reason, ascend to the highest office in the land. And yeah, for September 11th, go down to New York, you fucking old curmudgeon. Like, for Christ's sakes, man. The fact that you are, 4,300 miles away? Like, you could not get... You logistically, within the confines of the United States, could not get further away than where you are. It's disgusting, man. This administration, with this little slides, they so blatantly hate America. I'm not even American, for Christ's sakes, okay? I'm Canadian, okay? But I have a specific love for America, and I'm disgusted for this. Fuck, we could spend an entire week talking about how the leader of Canada intrinsically... oh, he doesn't even intrinsically, he just overtly hates this country. But no, man, tell us more about all of those mass graves underneath of those residential schools and how they're full of bodies. Oh, wait, we didn't find any? Off to the new obfuscation so I can seize more power. That would be great. Fucking piece of shit. I hate all of these leaders. I hate them all. Looks so devastating because, the way you could go from you could stand in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I was born there in Wilkes-Barre. My mom had to turn on the windshield wipers to get the oil slick. the Pentagon in Virginia. I spent many 9/11s in those hallowed grounds. Bear witness and remember those we lost. Yeah, in order to push a bunch of forever wars, in order for you to just print more money and then sign more defense contracts, so you could just go ahead and skim a little bit off the top. What is that? 10% for the big guy? Right. Moments later, the president claimed that he saw the immediate aftermath of American Airlines Flight 77 striking the Pentagon. Yeah, but we'll talk more about all of this conspiracy shit. And yeah, for as infuriating as Biden just openly lying about the situation makes me, nothing quite pisses me off on this day when I see all of this kook shit come up. But everybody's focused right now on just the obvious lie. But remember, guys, Trump, he just lies about everything. For all of the elected officials that are in there right now, like Kamala Harris, at least, you got to go ahead and give the horror flowers every once in a while when she does something right. She was down at ground zero today, standing very awkwardly, and I don't know, maybe she didn't smell very good, but Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, who is definitely doing his own Trump impression, saying something about illegals all the time. It's kind of a weird turnabout, hey, but elections have consequences, stupid. But no, he's just grimacing, standing next to stupid, smiling Kamala Harris, and he's probably just sick of hearing that laugh. But where was Kamala Harris on 9/11? Well, she wasn't elected yet. She was probably chilling up next to Montel Williams back in the day. But Trump, as for Trump, he was down there ground zero. You can find video footage of him there taking immediate action. But Biden, well, no, he couldn't even be bothered about it, and he was on the taxpayer dime at the time. No, the orange man bad, right? And the old hair sniffer good. But yeah, pay attention to all that stuff. Meanwhile, Biden's cutting multi-billion-dollar swap with Iran. Boy, this really doesn't seem at all like a differentiation between a third term with Obama as opposed to a new regime. No, couldn't possibly be the case. What was that about? Pallets of money in the middle of the night, and wasn't that still Iran? It could either be Pakistan or Iran, but they're both hostile for different reasons. I'm not entirely sure of the hostilities of Pakistan, but I know for Iran, well, they have a very vested interest for one reason or another. U.S. makes a deal with Iran to swap 5 American prisoners for $6 billion in frozen funds. How adorable. 5 American citizens are being held hostage by Iran and released in return for unfreezing of $6 billion held by South Korean banks, U.S. government announced on Monday, enraging Biden administration critics, particularly on the timing coinciding with the anniversary of 9/11. Yeah, but what does Iran have to do with 9/11? Yeah, probably about as much as all these conspiracy theories, at least the ones that are allowed to permeate social media, which I'll get to very shortly. 5 U.S. hostages, businessmen Samak Namazi, 51, Imad Shiragi, 58, environmentalist Morad Tabaz, 67, and 2 anonymous individuals were freed once the money was transferred from South Korea to an intermediary in Qatar and then on to Iran. The 5 Iranian citizens held in the United States will also be released. So they got a 1-for-1 prisoner swap and then $6 billion in compensation. What the actual fuck? The deal had been months in the works and long expected, but Republicans reacted with fury, with Donald Trump saying that the money would pay for terrorism and calling Biden an incompetent fool, and Ron DeSantis, who was also down there, ground zero, okay, good for him, accusing Biden of selling out America. Trump said he had never paid to release any hostages and added, "This incompetent fool is absolutely destroying America." He has the audacity to announce this terrible deal today, September 11th. Yep, exactly. His Republican rival, but hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day. DeSantis said the deal bankrolls nuclear ambitions, hostage takers, and extremists who hate America. But again, what beef? What beef specifically does Iran have with America? Nobody wants to answer that question. No, it's mostly because they have a big beef with one of the intermediaries. We don't need to get specific because, YouTube is a little bit sketchy when it comes to this stuff. All I'll do is just drop a couple of little breadcrumbs and say, our greatest ally. That's the one that they have an issue with, and that's why you think that all of those forever wars started up, because, never really made sense on 9/11, right? When the trade centers went down, and, what about Building 7? We'll talk about that fucking nonsense in a second. But why is it you have 13 Saudi Arabians attack the two towers, try to go to the Pentagon, and then also end up having one plane hijacked and that landed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. That was, I think it was supposed to be going towards the White House as well. I forget where that one was on the way, but I think that was the plan for that one. Alongside a couple of other grounded planes. One was heading for the Sears Tower in Chicago, and there was a couple that were grounded before anything took off in Los Angeles as well. And then also there were a couple of other planes that were grounded in the 13th and the 14th, or the 12th and the 13th. I know the 13th for sure. But yeah, no, you don't hear about any of that stuff because you're too busy hearing about conspiracy theories about, oh, it was controlled demolition, thermite paint, jet fuel doesn't melt steel buildings, duh! All of this fucking nonsense, man. Like, oh my God. I'm so sick and tired of these cocksucking kooks that think, oh, did you see the night before there was the lights that were on in the World Trade Centers? Oh, the explosions line up with the one picture that I seen that says E-Team on the north building, and then the south building has a row of lights that are completely off, and that's where both of the planes hit. Coincidence? I don't think so. What happened? There's also no bodies that were recovered. What happened to all the plane parts in the Pentagon? They're fucking there, you idiots. Shout out to Ryan Dawson for uncovering all of this stuff. You want to know the actual truth of this stuff? At the time of recording, you might even be able to go check it out by the time that this also gets published. He was holding his spaces on Twitter. And then he also did a very, I think it's like a 4-part long expose on the Fresh and Fit podcast. You can still go check those out on Rumble. I highly, 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 highly recommend them. And one of the very few things that I can talk about on the platform right now was something that he said about getting to the bottom of who actually was behind the planes that definitely did hit, and Tower 7 that definitely got hit with debris from the buildings and from the planes themselves, which the first responders that are down there on the ground, because you only ever see pictures from one angle from Tower 7 and, oh, look at the way that it fell, oh, it pancaked as well. It's like, yeah, you can see the smoke that's behind the building, you know, the smoke coming from where all of the debris hit, you idiots. And then also, it's interesting because there were also news clips around the same time noting from the people that were coming out from the bottom of the World Trade Centers, noting that it sounded like there were explosions coming from the parking garage in the basement. That sure as hell got fucking memory hold real quickly. So, we've never seen a building fall like that. What about free fall? And now there's some idiots that also think holograms, and that's definitely what you see. Oh, there's security footage from the Pentagon that just it shows what happened because it has a frame rate of 1 per fucking minute, for Christ's sakes. You know how fast the plane fucking goes? It's like, oh, look at you don't see the plane hit. Yeah, black box was recovered, plane parts, engines were recovered, DNA from every single person that was on the plane was pulled out from the wreckage. Oh my God, you blithering tards. You actually believe any of this stuff? From the conspiracy side of this stuff, you know, the obfuscated part of this stuff. Ask yourself this question for a second. When somebody burns down your house, are you looking for the person that did it? Or are you asking yourself, did they use gasoline? Did they use kerosene? What was their accelerant? That's what all of those fucking whack jobs are focused on. Like I said, shout out to Ryan Dawson, who actually got the FOIAs, who actually has the FBI paperwork, who has read through all of the investigations, the JI6 report, the JIC report, all of this stuff. He has done more research on 9/11 than anybody else out there. And if you hear any credible stuff, especially about, I don't know, maybe some boys that were out there dancing across the river in another state or something like that, in front of some vans or something. Hey, we don't need to get specific or anything like that. But if you hear anybody parrot some stuff that it really does seem to really add up, and oh, there's actual factual evidence behind that, chances are it probably comes from his research. But no. We'll just go ahead and focus on the inside footage, the forgotten third World Trade Center tower occupied by CIA. Oh, what was inside the building? I don't know. Probably a lot of people that fucking died. How about we focus on that instead and wonder, gee, why did we go into Afghanistan and then later, because Colin Powell's dumb fucking lying ass decided to hold up a vial of what he said was anthrax, but then realized, oh, you can't actually make powdered anthrax like that in order for there to be justification to go into Iraq, because guess what? They hadn't had weapons of mass destruction since 1996. There are liars. There are bad actors at play. But you don't have to affix a tinfoil hat in order to get to the bottom of this. This shit makes me fucking infuriated. The annals of history, the vivid and horrifying images, the Twin Towers collapsing on the fateful September 11th, 2001. I remember exactly where I was, waking up first thing in the morning. For whatever reason, my father was still at home. He had the news on, and yeah, I remember I've seen the pictures of the smoke of the tower. I don't remember if I seen the planes hit the building at that point in time, if the telecast had it out at that point in time or not. And then going to school, I would have been just starting 6th grade. Yeah, man, we spent a lion's share of the day, and then right at the end of the day, about 5 to 3, somebody came in and said it was all orchestrated by Osama bin Laden. Oh, what little did we know back at the time. But amid the chaos and the devastation of that day, there's one building that often remains shrouded in obscurity. No, there isn't. There's actual, tangible fucking evidence as to what happened, but no. It's the hologram controlled demolition. On the same day, the sun dipped below the horizon at 5:20 p.m. Building 7, which had been burning for hours because the planes hit the towers at 8:44 in the morning, 8:46 in the morning, and then the other one was just after 9 o'clock. So yeah, all of those buildings had been burning for hours. It took weeks for the fires to go out. For fuck's sakes, man. Collapse of Building 7 of the World Trade Center often goes unnoticed. No. But yeah, it's a big focus when it comes to all of these conspiracy theories. Look where the building is. Look at where it is. That shot right there obviously doesn't do it justice, but it's real close to the North Tower, which guess what? That shit fucking fell down because, ask yourself another question if you're wondering, the fire, jet fuel doesn't melt steel buildings. But what happens to fire? Because, fire likes to, acquire different fuel sources, and if it can go up or down. Ask yourself, if shit was burning for like a week at a time, what happened to the sprinkler systems, and did anybody fuck around with those in the interim? Again, shout out Ryan Dawson. He has answers. If you have questions, he has actual answers instead of just, I don't know how that could have happened. I don't know. Building gets hit. Does my cursor work? Yeah. Building gets hit this direction and then debris falls out, hits tower on that side, but you only ever see pictures from this side with smoke billowing out from this side. Oh, it looks like controlled demolition. You fucking idiots, man. You do yourself a gigantic disservice. Now, before that day, the World Trade Center was sprawling complex, boasting 7 buildings in the heart of Lower Manhattan's financial district, specifically the Twin Towers and North Tower, standing tall at 1,368 feet, and its counterpart standing 1,362 feet, held the distinctions of being the tallest buildings in the world. Yeah, of course, until, well, obviously the Burj Khalifa in Dubai is obviously much taller now, but yeah, for the longest point in time, they were taller because it was the Sears Tower and then World Trade Centers. I forget. It was a CN Tower. Eventually, I think the CN Tower was built in the aftermath, and then, at its point, it's taller. But as functional buildings go, yeah, they were until, well, they weren't. But there was more than a complex than just the iconic towers. Among the ensemble of buildings like Marriott World Trade Center, 3 World Trade Center, 4 World Trade Center, 5, 6, and 7, yes. Building 7, a 47-foot structure enveloped in a striking red granite masonry, occupying an unconventional trapezoid footprint. Elevated walkway gracefully spanned Vesey Street, linking the building to the World Trade Center Plaza. What made Building 7 even more unique was its position above the Con Ed power substation, demanding innovative structural design. The building first opened in 1987. It struggled to lure tenants. However, luck changed in 1988 when the investment bank Salomon Brothers inked a long-term lease, becoming the anchor tenant. And yeah, that's another thing, and I don't need to go through. I'll just go ahead and link this out because, yeah, I'm going to tell you about the history of Building 7 and all that shit. But everybody wants to talk about, what about Lucky Larry taking out the terrorist policy just days before? Oh, he had just purchased those buildings, and then he gets a terrorism insurance policy. Yeah, you buy the buildings, and imagine this. You guys remember what happened in 1993? There was a botched terrorist plot that happened on the World Trade Centers. You would think, and for any building of a certain size, you have to get a terrorist policy. Wow, imagine that. But he got so lucky because those insurance policies were worth millions. Yeah, he tried to collect. Guess what ended up happening? He didn't get to collect. But no. You just go ahead and believe all of those fucking stupid conspiracy theories until you actually start to dig down and start to realize that there are 3 big players at play right now that facilitated to this happening. Did the CIA have a part in it? Definitely. The intel community dropped the ball hard. fucking hard when it came to this within the confines of the United States. Saudi Arabia, they have some interesting links as well. And then there's another little remote country in the middle of the Middle East that, likes to cause a few problems. But again, you can't question them because they're our greatest ally. So yeah, man, for all the people that lost their lives, the thousands of people on the day, and then the 1,000+ in the aftermath of this stuff, legitimately, never forget. And I really hope, chances are we won't, but, I've got hope that at some point in time, we're eventually going to come to our senses, realize what ended up happening. That facilitated all of this stuff, and we can get to the bottom of this stuff. But it's been 22 years, and we're already just bogged down in all this conspiracy shit. It's almost like they don't want you to know what actually happened. Instead, just keep you preoccupied with a bunch of nonsense, while the people that are actually pulling the strings up in the top just mortgage away your great-great-great-grandchildren's future by doing prisoner swaps in the middle of the night worth $6 billion. Unfucking believable. At least it's not going to Ukraine, right? Right. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.